Okay, I should be live here. It's Sunday morning about 9:03 a.m. and it's time to do my forex my forex weekly smart money outlook for the week of 12/5/22. So I did post on my timeline here last night about 11 hours ago that I would be going live today so that people would know. And I only go live with this forex once a week, normally on Sunday when I do the weekly smart money outlook. Most of the time I go live in my group. So once I go through this outlook and I mark up the charts and I set the alerts for the week on the forex pairs, then as those alerts go off, I go live in my group here. So if you don't belong to the group, make sure you click this link right here and join the group so that you'll be able to get notifications when I go live in the group and go over the alerts to come out. That is the right here, the Forex Smart Money Trading Academy group. And yesterday I went live and I went over all the alerts that came out last week, the week of 11/28/22. So that live session's right here where I go over them. We actually had two smart money alerts. We had 2 winning trades, 1 losing trade. In our ATH quick turn trades, we had 3 winners and 1 loser. The trades that I was able to actually take, because I do miss some of the trades because I own a restaurant and I'm there during the day. So primarily I can trade only during the Asian session. Sometimes in the morning before I get to work at the restaurant. But I took 3 trades, and last week it was 1 winning trade, 2 losing trades. So since we risk 2% of our account to make 4%, we do 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio trades. I can lose 2 out of 3 trades and still break even. So if you go through the group here, you'll see that the weeks before last week, they were all winning trades, or the week before last, they were all winning trades. And, we have a very high win percentage on all the trades that come out and all the trades that I take as well, and all the trades I'm able to take as well. So we're going to go over the weekly outlook here. And then what I'm going to do is, let me just pull up Trading View here real fast. I don't have it up. And so I have 2 watch lists here in Trading View. I have my Forex, which is for smart money, and then I have the ATH quick turn watch list as well. So primarily just going over the smart money when I do these weekly outlooks. So we'll switch back to this watch list here and see, I'm entering my password here for this. Okay, so what we do basically here is, as you can see, I've already gone through this last night. So I go through it Saturday night, so I'm ready to go. And all the pairs that have a blue flag by them, that means that I've determined that the higher time frame trend is bullish. So I look at the daily trend primarily. I see which way the daily trend is going, and then I look for the 4-hour trend to confirm the daily trend. Okay, so basically I want the daily and the 4-hour to both be bullish or both be bearish. If one's bullish and one's bearish, or one's bearish and one's bullish, then I just don't trade that pair. So I don't put a flag by that pair. So as you can see here, all the pairs that have blue flags are bullish for the week, or for right now anyway. And all the pairs that have red flags by them are bearish. The pairs that have no flags by them, I won't trade those pairs this week unless something changes during the week and I'm able to see it and spot it and make the adjustment. So let's start with, let me just show you let me just go over a few of these pairs here. I'm going to go over maybe the first 5 here, the AUD pairs, and just show you what I'm looking for when I'm determining the trend. Okay, so AUD, CAD, I'm telling you that the higher time frame trend is bullish. Okay, Let's just move this over here. So this is AUD I like to look at the pairs in my MT4 because I'm able to scroll out easier and actually see what's going on here. So this is the daily trend. You can easily see that the daily trend here has been bearish, right? For quite a while. And if we pull up the 4-hour, we will see that the 4-hour, the 4-hour is not. So interesting thing is sometimes I do make mistakes as I'm going through these, and then I catch them when I do the weekly outlook here. So actually, AUD here. Let's look at this one more time here. I may have missed something here. Okay, so I see what I missed. Okay. So if you look at the daily trend of AUD, it looks pretty bearish. But if you zoom in closer here, we have a break of structure right here. So you see this pullback moves us to a new low. So we can mark our structure. Our daily structure is right there. So once we get a break of structure on the daily chart, that's a change of character. And then once we get a 2x2, then that's a change of trend. So a 2x2 is simply 2 breaks of structure. So here we have 1 break of structure, and then it pulls back. Okay, and these pullbacks should always be at least to the 38. So if you take a fib and you did up to here, right? So this is pulling back to just before the 38.2. So that's sufficient enough for a pullback. If it only pulled back to like the 23, then I wouldn't count that as a pullback. But in this case, I'm going to count that as a pullback. And then what happens is we get a second break of structure right in here, right? And then we also get another break of structure up here. So the daily trend is now, the bias on it is bullish, okay? The 4-hour is bullish as well. And so that's why we have the blue flag by AUD. Now let's look at odd chef because we're saying that's bearish, okay? So if we look at odd chef here, let me just clean this chart up here real fast. Okay, if we look at the daily chart, we could see that that's definitely bearish, right? And if we look at the 4-hour, that is still bearish as well. So a little bit harder to see it, but when you zoom out, you can see that we don't have any definitive breaks of structure going up. We have one, but we don't have a second one. So we have a break of structure right here, and then we have a pullback. So if this were to move up and do a second break of structure, then the bias on this would change from bearish to bullish. But right now it's bearish. Okay, so both the 4-hour and the daily are bearish. Again, you look at that again, you can see it by eyeballing it. So we're going to only look for sales this week in AUD-CHF. Now, AUD-JPY doesn't have a flag by it. So if we look at the daily chart, this has definitely been bullish for a while, right? But if we drop down to the 4-hour, we see that there's been this move down. So it was bearish, but right here, we get a break of structure right in here, right? We get a pullback and a second break of structure. Now it does come back up and it does break structure once on the way up, but not twice. And then it comes right back down to where we were before. So that's why we're going to say for right now that the trend bias on the 4-hour chart is bearish. And since the daily is bullish, we're not going to trade this pair this week, right? We want both higher time frames to line up. We want the daily and the 4-hour to both be bullish or both be bearish. Like I said, if one's bullish, one's bearish, right? Or one's bearish, one's bullish, whatever it is, we don't trade the pair that week. We got many pairs to look at, so we don't have to look for trades in every pair. The next one's AUD-NZD. And this one we're saying is bearish, right? So if we look at this, you could see on the 4-hour chart, very, very bearish, right? Straight down. The daily chart, right, was bullish for a while, right? But then we have this move straight down. We have a break of structure here, a pullback, a second break of structure, a pullback. Actually have a 3x3 here straight down. So the trend bias on the daily here is definitely bearish. Okay. So we're looking for the trend bias. So when I say bias, what I mean is, although when you look at this, I guess what we should say is the most recent trend. So if you look at this, you could say, well, it looks kind of bullish because it moved all the way up to here. But because we have this break of structure, which gives you a change of character, we get a pullback, and then we get a second break of structure, which is a change of trend. Now, one thing to look at here is I told you that these pullbacks should be at least 38 to the 38.2, right? So here's the fib, 38.2 on the fib. And as you can see, this is close. It's close enough for me. Would like to see it at least to the 38.2, but that's close enough. And then anyway, we get a third break of structure as well. So with that one, the fib on that one would just go from here to here, and that easily pulls back at least 50%. So these pullbacks here are both sufficient enough to count towards a 2x2 and a change of trend. So we have the first break of structure right here. The way you find these structure points is like this. It takes a little while to get it down, but when you're looking for structure points and breaks of structure, we only use the bodies of the candle. Okay, so we're looking for the body of the candle, we don't count the wicks, and we look for bodies to close above or below bodies for a break of structure. So right here, to identify the structure point, you want to get the last move up. So here's the pullback that moves to the new high. So that means that structure is basically right here under this body right here on the daily chart. Price moves down, it breaks structure, right? Pulls back. Now you have a second structure point, comes down, breaks structure again, pulls back, right? Now you actually have a third structure point right here, pulls back, breaks structure again. So this is clearly bearish on the daily chart. And the 4-hour has been bearish for quite some time now, right? And we have this beautiful box right here on the 4-hour, okay? So we'll show you where we're going to mark these charts up here, and we're gonna do our mark up our trade alerts on the chart here for the week. So let's do one more here. AUD USD. We're saying that this one is bullish. Okay, so if we look here, we have the 4-hour chart here. We can definitely say that that is now bullish. It was bearish for a while, right? Right, we get this move down, so we get a break of structure right in here. We get a pullback, we get a second break of structure, another pullback, and actually a third break of structure on the way up. So the bias on this is bullish, right? Because of this big leg going up here. And the daily, what did we say the daily was here? Okay, now I confused myself. Bullish, yeah. The daily is not bullish. The daily is bearish. Okay, so what we determined here, I know what I did right here. So right here, we have structure right here on the daily chart, which is broken. Then we have a pullback, and we have a second break of structure right here. So the bias on the daily chart is actually bullish, even though long term it looks like it's been bearish, right? So we're looking for this to turn around now. Like I said, the daily, we're going to go with bullish because of those two breaks of structure, that 2x2 on the way up. And on the 4-hour, we are bullish as well. So for this week, we're going to go with bullish on AUD USD. Let's look at one of the CAD chef pairs here, and then we'll start showing you how I mark up the charts here for the trade alerts. So CAD chef here, if we look at the daily chart, again, this is bearish. All this move down here, 1, 2, 3 breaks of structure, a 3x3 on the way down, that's definitely bearish. And the 4-hour has been bearish as well. So really, some of the pairs, when you look at them, it's easy like this. And some of them, you have to take a little while to analyze them to see if there's, see if there's a 2x2 moving the other way or not. And then, sometimes it's just a little bit difficult to determine which way the trend's actually going. And in that case, I just won't trade the pair. If I can't determine, the way the trend's going on a chart, then I just don't trade the pair. Okay. So that gives you an idea of what I look for on all these pairs. Okay. I go through I think I have 28 pairs here. $28 pairs. I might be missing a couple, but I have 28 pairs listed here. I go through all 28 of them, just like I did there with those first 6, and I determine which way the higher time frame trend is going. If both the daily and 4-hour are bullish, I put a blue flag by the pair. If both the daily and 4-hour are bearish, I put a red flag. If one's bullish and one's bearish and one's bullish, whatever, I don't put any flag, and we don't set any alerts for those pairs. So let's look at the 4-hour. What we're going to do is to set our alerts, we look at the 4-hour charts. Okay. Once our alerts get hit, we get an email, right? And I go over this daily in the group, the Forex Smart Money Trading Academy group. So make sure if you don't belong to this group, you give me, send me a message so I can get you added to this group, so you'll get notified when we go live. Okay. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, as I start marking these up, I'll say things like banker's candle, mitigation, candles being mitigated, right? You need to get the free week of training. And you haven't gotten on the free week of training with our community. If you haven't done that yet, the experts in our community go live Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. They've been doing it for 6 years. Okay. We basically teach this smart money strategy that I'm showing you right here. And a few weeks ago, we rolled out a brand new strategy, which we call our ATH quick turn strategy. So you'll see both of those strategies if you get on the free week of training. So even if you've already taken the free week of training, since we now have this new strategy, get with me today so I can get you set up for this week so that you can check out this new strategy. Because with the new strategy, you don't have to learn all the smart money stuff that I'm showing you right now, right? You just put a couple indicators on the chart, and you can start taking demo trades right away after you watch maybe 2 hours of training videos. You can just start taking trades on demo right away. Now, with the smart money, it takes some people 2 or 3 months to learn it. Some people, it can take as long as 6 to 9 months to learn it. Okay, it all matters how much experience you have coming in. But with the ATH quick turn, you can get that in a couple hours and start marking up your charts and taking your demo trade. But either way, you want to get the free week of training, get with me today so I can get you set up for that this week. Now, like I said, they go live every Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. If you can't make those live sessions, it's no big deal. I will give you, just let me know, and I'll give you the link and the password to access the recordings for this week. Now, it's only good for 1 week. You only get 1 free week, right? But like I said, if you already had it, you didn't see our ATH quick turn strategy, get with me, I'll give you a second free week. Or I could just give you access to the recordings this week so that you can watch them at any time. But the password that I give you is only good for 1 week, and it expires on Sundays, right? So if I give you a password this week, at some point this week, that password will expire next Sunday evening. So you have to watch before then, okay? So let's look at AUD-CAD. So we're on the 4-hour chart. We see this move up here. We see a little area consolidation. We have a box right here. It's a box. There's 2 trading patterns we look for, the banker box and the signature pattern. Again, if you don't know what those are, get with me so I can add you to the group. You'll get to watch 2 videos today that will tell you about these 2 patterns that I'm talking about. And I'll also give you a link to register for the live trainings this week. Oh, excuse me. So we marked up this 4-hour banker candle right here. Okay, this banker candle is the last down candle before this up move. Okay, now we did get a break of structure here. That validates our banker candle, right? It's something that I look like before I take a trade. Another thing that I'll look for is I'll check the fib sometimes to see, and we like to be in this 71 to 88.6 zone. Okay, that's where we like our banker candle to be at. Now you can see here in this case, it's just below that red line or banker candle. So it's just a little bit outside of it, but that's obviously enough for us to take this as a valid area of interest on the 4-hour chart. And the area of interest is just a logical area that we would expect price to move back to and react. Now by react, we would hope that it would go up. We'll look for confirmations. Once it comes down and hits this area, we'll drop down to the 1-hour chart. We'll turn on our ATH indicator, and that's our proprietary indicator. Again, it's only available if you're a customer of our community, okay? So your first step, if you're not a customer, is to get your free week of training. If you've already had that free week of training, you want to become a customer, get with me. I'll send you the link. And you want to do that right away because on December 6th, the price to become a customer is going to go up by $50. So if you get with me right away, you can save $50 until December 6th. Okay, so this is where we're looking for price to come back to. So basically what we want this to do is we want price to flag back to this area. We don't want to see impulse, right? We want the impulse to come away from our area, and then we want it to flag back like that. Okay, so that's basically what we're looking for on every one of these charts. When we have an area of interest marked up like this, we're looking for this type of price action. We don't want big impulsive candles coming down into our area of interest, because that tells us that it's probably just going to pull back and then drop further, right? That's what that tells us, okay? See how you have this impulse? See how you have this impulse up? And then right here, you have this flag back down, flagging back down. This is like the flagpole. That's the flag. That's what we're looking for, okay? Sometimes you also get a negative flag like this, okay? So if we had a point of interest up here and we were looking to short this pair, then this flagging here, the way this price action is flagging up, would be good. We want that to do that now on the way down to here, set off our alert, then we can go into MT4. We turn on our ATH indicator because we use that for a confirmation. We drop down to the 1-hour chart and we wait for the confirmation to take the trade, which could be the ATH indicator. It could be a particular candlestick pattern that happens right away, like a shooting star or a hammer candlestick pattern. It could be waiting for a break of structure on the lower time frame and double mitigation, pull back to another banker candle basically, or a 2x2 with a pullback to the banker candle. If you go into the group here, and again, if you're not a member, make sure you get with me so I can add you. And if you go to the file section here, I have everything. I have the smart money trading plan rules right here. So this is basically everything that I'm going over and what I'm looking for in a confirmation on the lower time frame before I actually take the trade. I also have the ATH quick turn trading plan PDF here as well. So both of them are there. You can get them in the group. Again, if you're not a member of the group yet, just get with me so I can add you. And by the way, when you click on that link to join, there's a couple questions you have to answer. If you don't answer the questions, then you automatically get declined entrance to the group. So make sure you answer at least one of the questions, one or two of the questions, so that you can get access to the group once you click on the link. Okay, so let's move on now. We're going to go to AUD CHF. We determined that this is bearish. So we're looking for this. Let's see here. We actually have this. Yeah. So we don't have what happened is we have a banker candle right here. But you could see with these wicks here, this banker candle area has already been mitigated, okay? So we have break of structure, the wick comes back. So there's no reason for the banks and institutions to come back to this area. Doesn't mean they won't, there's just no reason. And if we try to find a banker candle farther back, it's basically too far away. So what we're looking for here is, we're looking for a break of structure. So this is a BOS, this is a break of structure alert down here. And so since we want to sell this, we're looking for this to come down here, break structure, and then we'll be able to find another banker candle that it can flag back up to. So when the alerts go off during the week, the first thing I do is come in the trading view here and see if it's a trade alert or a break of structure alert, because that tells me what to do next, right? If it's a break of structure alert, then that means there's probably a banker candle that I can now put an alert on, right? If it's a trade alert, then I know to go in MT4, turn on my ATH, right? Mark up my 4-hour area on the 4-hour, then drop down to the 1 hour and look for confirmations to take the trade. And again, I go over all that daily as these alerts come out in the group. Okay, the next one is AUDNZD. This is coming down here. We have a banker candle right here. We have this 4-hour, we have this little box here, right? I can box it up here for you. Pretty good box right here. And then we have a blast down out of the box. And that leaves this banker candle right here that hasn't been mitigated yet. So we can look for price to flag up to here and move into our 4-hour area of interest. AUDUSD, let's see, this is moving up here. And now what we have down here is we have a box down here. Right, and we have this blast up, pulls back. We have some candles in here, but they've already been mitigated. Like this candle here, this one came up, right? Came back down, got mitigated. So this candle here is the one we're waiting for to get mitigated here. This is the one that they have to get back to. So we're looking for a price to flag back to here nicely, set off our alert, and then we can do what we do. CAD-CHF, again, this is moving downward here. And we couldn't identify a banker candle here that hasn't been mitigated, okay? This candle's been mitigated. This candle's been mitigated. This candle's been mitigated. We would have to go all the way up to here to find a banker candle that hasn't been mitigated yet. So we could actually set an alert up here. Let's see. Right there. We could set an alert up here. So we have that alert set. Price could flag up to there. But we also put an alert down here for a break of structure, the BOS alert, right? Break of structure. So that way, if price comes down, break structure here, we may be able to identify a banker candle closer to where we're at. Right now, we have to put it all the way up here because all these other areas have been mitigated already. So there's no reason for them to come back to those areas, right? But they do need to come back to this area here at some point. And we do have some imbalance in here. Okay, again, if you don't know what imbalance is, you have to get on that free week of training so you can learn what these things mean. Banker candles, mitigation, imbalance. Basically, there's 3 things that banks and large institutions do every day to manipulate the market, right? They take liquidity, right? When you're in these areas of consolidation, retail traders like to put, some retail traders will put their sell orders in up above here, and then their stop losses up here. Some people that are looking to buy in these areas of consolidation will put their buy orders in, and then their stop losses down here. So the banks will move up and down, up above and down below, and take all that liquidity. They can see all those orders in there, and they take all that money. So they like to take liquidity, they mitigate banker candles, and they fill in balance. Okay, next one, EURAUD. This one moved down. We got a break of structure here. We have this banker candle right here that's left behind. This is a very, very nice banker candle. If you're looking for a banker candle, this is a nice one. And then the candle after it is a big engulfing candle. So that's like an A+ as far as a banker candle goes. So we're looking for price to flag up to there, and then we'll decide to do what we do, get in the trade or not. EURCAD, this one is a buy as well. We have these moving up, keeps breaking structure here. We have this 4-hour, we have this little area of consolidation here. All these other candles have kind of already been mitigated, right? So this candle's been mitigated. We got a break of structure, mitigation. These candles here were mitigated. So we really, these candles here were mitigated with this. We really have to come all the way down to here to find a banker candle that hasn't been mitigated. Again, if you don't know what a banker candle is, you have to get on that free week of trading. Okay, that's all I can tell you guys. I don't want to explain everything to you here, but because I want you to get on that free week of training, then you'll know a lot more about what I'm talking about. So we're looking for price to flag back to here. EURNZD, this is a sell for the week. Now we have this banker candle right here. Okay, it looks like it's already been mitigated, but we looked for a break of structure first. So if price would have moved a little bit further away, then I would say, okay, that area's been already mitigated. I would have to come up here. But you see here, as it moves away, this area is mitigated as well. Okay. So we're going to go with this area right here. We're going to look for price to flag up to that area. Let's just show you sometimes what I'll do is I'll put a fib on here. So since this is my banker candle, I want to go to the wick right here. Now, sometimes there might be a wick, a couple candles before we have to use. But in this case, I'm just going to use that wick. I'm going to go down to the bottom of this wick, right? And as you see here, my blue entry line here, the start of my 4-hour area is inside this 71 to 88.6 zone. That's what we call our kill zone. That's what we're looking for price to pull back to there. Okay. So that's also another thing that I look at before I do mark up these banker candles, right? I need a nice banker candle. I need a break of structure, right? And I check the fib. And of course, I want to be going with the long-term trend. So we've already determined that the long-term trend is bearish. So this is our banker candle area right here that we have marked up. EURUSD, this again is bullish. We have this banker candle right here. In this consolidation, there's a big box here, right? We have a blast out of the box, and then we're looking for this price to flag back down to this area of interest right here, and then react. GBP CAD, this is a buy as well. Break structure on the way up. Now this area right here is already been mitigated by this candle here. So we're not going to pick this candle. We actually have to come down to here. We have a box down here, and we have a banker candle down here that has not been mitigated. Okay. Let's see here. We're going to go with this one right here. There is a chance that this one was already mitigated. Sometimes we just don't know because we're not watching these candles form live. So we don't know if on this candle here, for instance, this one right here, we don't know if price moves down first and then moves up and closes, or if price moves up, then comes down, breaks structure, and then comes down and mitigates that candle. We don't know. And again, if you don't know what I mean by mitigate, you have to get on the line, the free trading. Okay, so we're going to mark up that area for our area of interest right there. GBP NZD, this we're looking for sells. We couldn't find a nice candle here that hadn't been mitigated. Okay, again, we would have to go too far up here. Probably have to go all the way to this candle right here before we would find an area of interest, right? So that's kind of far away, right? So what we did is we set a break of structure alert down here. And then once that alert goes off, we come to the chart, and then we can set, and we can find a new banker candle that's formed to set an alert on. Okay, so that's what we're waiting for there. GBP USD, this is a buy. We have this beautiful banker candle right here with a large engulfing candle after it. We have a box here, a blast up out of that box. We're going to wait for that to flag back. NZD CAD, same thing. We're going to take this banker candle right here, even though this is actually the candle down here. So we're going to take this whole area here because this candle's so small. Okay. Now, again, actually, I'm going to move that because there's a chance that this candle has already been mitigated. So I'm going to go down to this area here. So we're going to wait for price to flag back here. So why didn't we take this candle right here? Because we get a break of structure and it looks like it's been mitigated already. So there is a chance it hasn't been mitigated, but I think it has. So I'm going to pass on this area and I'm going to go with this area down here. Let me just look at this one more time. If I put, actually what I'm going to do is, and this is why I go back. This is why it's good for me to go back over the weekly outlook with you guys, because I'm able to correct some mistakes that I find that I make. I'm going to move this up to here. I don't think that's been mitigated yet. Let me just do a fib real fast here too. If I take a fib from here to here, we're definitely inside our range, right? We could see that. This is our range from this green line here to this red line. So we're right inside that 71 to 88.6 zone that we're looking for. So we're gonna go with that candle there. NZDJ, what's this here? NZDJPY, this is a buy. So this is a big consolidation area here. You know, we don't have any breaks of structure in this with this move up here. So we're going to have to come all the way down to here to this banker candle. And again, this could have been mitigated. It all matters. It really didn't break structure first. So we're going to go with this area right here. Okay, we're going to look for price to flag down to there. And then we can decide whether or not to take a trade. And then the last pair we have marked up is USPJPY. We have this for a bearish sell. We have this move down here, and we have this banker candle right here that we have marked up. So again, we would be looking for price to flag up nicely to this area, right? Our alarm will go off. We'll come back to our 4-hour chart here on TradingView. We'll check to see if it's an alert, a trade alert, or a break of structure alert. This would be a trade alert, right? Just get rid of this here real fast. And then we'll drop down. We'll go into our MT4. We'll add our ATH indicator to the chart, right? We'll mark up our 4-hour area of interest on the 4-hour chart. We'll drop down to the 1 hour, look for our confirmations to take the trade. So this is the weekly outlook. That's been the weekly outlook for this week, guys. I do this, you know, every Saturday night. I go through all 28 pairs and I analyze the higher time frame trend. I decide if it's bullish or bearish, or if I'm not going to trade it at all. And then I mark up the charts, the 4-hour area of interest on the charts. So that's what this is. So during the week, as these trade alerts come out, I will get an email notification and I'll go live in my group here, the Forex Smart Money Trading Academy group. And I will go over the alerts as they go out, show you where the trades are at or where they're not at. And then we keep track of how many winning trades we have and how many losing trades we have. And, you know, at the end of the week on Saturday, I do the weekly trade alert summary. And that's where I actually go over all the alerts again and tell you how many winning trades we had and how many losing trades we had. Okay. And this is the summary that I did for the week of 11/28 last week. And again, smart money, we had 2 winners, 1 loser, and ATH quick turn, we had 3 winners and 1 loser. So I do put the ATH quick turn trades in here as well. And just to show you real fast here, in case you've seen that before, on the ATH quick turn, basically what we look for is this. We're looking for this right here. We have 2 moving averages here. These are exponential moving averages, EMAs. The red one is the 13-day, and the green one is the 62. So there's a lot of information about the 13 and the 62 moving averages and how the crosses are good at determining short-term trend changes, okay? Now, when we do the smart money, we're not so concerned with very short-term trend changes. We want, we want to know what the bias is on the higher time frame trends, on the higher time frames, right? We want to know what the trend bias is on the higher time frames. That here, what we'll do is on the 1 hour chart, I take my ATH quick turn trades on the 1 hour chart as well. So I take my smart money trades on 1 hour. That's my trigger chart. I take my ATH on 1 hour as well. So what we look for here on the ATH is, in order to determine if we're going to put a red flag or a blue flag, right, or no flag at all, we just simply look at the 1362 cross. And if the 13 is below the 62, and by the way, I like to call the 13 the salsa and the 62 the guacamole. Okay, so I'm a chef, so I like to name it food. Okay, now another guy that did this as well, but he don't like when you steal his names. So I use salsa and guacamole, and my moving averages are slightly different, or our communities are slightly different than his. He calls his by different names. I'm going to use salsa and guacamole. Okay, so since it's below, that means that this is bearish, right? It's a short term, it's more of a short term trend strategy, but because our ATH quick turn is more of a momentum indicator, we just need a short term strategy for this. Okay. So since this is 13 is below 62, that is bearish. So we go up to the 4 hour, and the 13 is also below 62. So the short-term trend using the 1362 EMAs is bearish, okay, on both charts, the 1 hour and the 4 hour. So since it is bearish on both charts, I put a red flag by AUD-JPY. AUD-USD, right, the 13 is above the 62, so it's bullish on the 4 hour, and the same thing on the 1 hour. So that gets a blue flag. Okay, and all these, I do the same thing with them. Now, I don't set alerts on these pairs. All I do is during the Asian session, because that's really when I'm able to trade. During the Asian session, I'll just, every hour, I'll scroll through all these pairs to see if there's a trade set up and if an alert has gone off, right? And the alerts are these green or red arrows here that look like a baseball home plate, okay? So if you look at EUR-AUD, just to show you one here. So what we have here is on the 1 hour, the red is above the 13, so it's bullish. But on the 4 hour, the red is still below the 62. I'm sorry, I might have said that wrong. Here, the 13 is above the 62, and here, the 13 is still below. Now it's getting ready to cross over, and I check these every day, and I make changes daily on these. I usually don't have to make any changes on the smart money ones, but I do make changes on these. So that's why there's no flag there. So that's just to give you a quick introduction to what I'm setting up here for my ATH quick turn trades. But like I said, this was the weekly outlook, right? Smart money weekly trend outlook for the week of 12/5/22. So again, make sure you belong to this group here, this free, my private free group, Forex Smart Money Training Academy, because when those alerts go off during the week, I will go live in this group and go over them. Okay, so if you don't belong to this group yet, either go to this site up here and click join, or get with me so I can send you the link. Send me a message on Messenger, I'll send you the link. Make sure you answer some of the questions or you won't get approved for the group. Okay, if you need to get your free week of training, get with me so I can get you set up for that starting tomorrow. If you've already had your free week, but you didn't get to see anything about our ATH quick turn strategy, get with me, I'll get you another free week. Or if you just need to watch the recordings this week, I can send you the site and password for that. Okay, so Bill Soriano from Pittsburgh. Have a great week, guys.